Next, I would now like to invite our esteemed keynote speakers. Inviting first Professor Dr. Paul Barish, Dr. Rahila Ahmed, and Dr. Abdullah Al-Asawi to the stage. Our first keynote session will be on how health systems learn, evaluating the implementation gap using health service research methods. This keynote will be delivered by Professor Dr. Paul Barish, who is a practicing double board certified physician scientist in anesthesiology and critical care from the Massachusetts General Hospital affiliated with Harvard Medical School. He is a professor at Thomas Jefferson College of Population Health and a visiting professor at several international universities. Please welcome Dr. Paul Barish.
And the problem is that we have problems in healthcare. They're not unique to Pakistan, but today we're in Pakistan, so we'll talk about some of those issues. So I've been in healthcare for about 28 years, and a lot of my research team deals with systems, not just individuals, but systems of care. And what we've learned around the world is that the number one cause of good care or bad care is often not the individual provider. It's the system in which the individual thrives. So good systems bring the best out of clinicians. Bad systems lead to bad service, cranky clinicians, unhappy clinicians, and sadly clinicians, as I saw this week in Karachi, clinicians that are violently attacked by patients. Again, violence against healthcare providers is not unique to Pakistan. There's an increase around the world now of about 20% since the pandemic, perhaps related. And so these are extraordinary problems. I'm trying to carry on, hoping you can get that up. So, I see it here. So it's here, but it's not there. Yeah, thank you. So what the research in health services research has shown in decades is that the way to amplify the quantitative individual performance is to study the people around the providers. For example, if you want to understand the best possible way to improve surgical outcomes, you do that on the full screen. Challenges in Pakistan, and I'm hoping we can get this up on the screen, but I wanted to talk about a topic that shows that Pakistan can be a world leader. And I'm a fan of cricket. How many of you are cricket fans? Great. Do you know how well Pakistan ranks in the world in cricket? Anybody know? In the top 5, men and women, which is really quite exceptional. And so I was hoping to show you that too. I'm trying to, but you moved me over there. Hear enough, the one response I'm looking for, which is, I'm responsible. So I would like Pakistani CEOs to say, I'm responsible for every patient in my system. That's what these cricket players say. I'm responsible. I'm responsible for the glory of Pakistan by making sure that we win. That's a 24/7 job. That's a very different leadership commitment. It means being very accountable. You know, yesterday we were at the gorgeous Karachi Marina, and this was on the floor. I don't know if you all saw it, and I loved it because we need to remember our North. What is our North Star in healthcare? Is it the patient? Is it the provider? Is it the money that we make? What is it? And sometimes I'm afraid that in all the language we forget what that North Star is. So the WHO has been studying this, particularly in low and middle income countries, and has identified large gaps, including in Pakistan, in implementing things that we know work. There is no need to do more basic research on patient safety. What there is need to do is to implement. So the focus must be on implementation science. How do we get things like hand washing and wrong site identification and readmission stuff? So it's about the system. This is the Lancet Healthcare Commission approach. This is the single most important thing to do in Pakistan, is to understand the system. Next year's conference, Aki, should only be about health system changes, because this is where you have the impact. The countries that have made the most impact in the world around their health systems have been focusing on the system, not the individual. It's not to abstain from the individual, it's to shift the focus to what actually has multiples of impact. So what are learning health systems? Systems that constantly learn from every near miss. So I often ask this when I meet with Pakistani leaders: how often are you collecting near misses in your healthcare systems? Just by show of hands. Not when things go wrong. When they don't go wrong, but they're not according to the process. Typically we say, well, great, by the grace of God we got through. But that's not a learning system. That's an excuse. The learning system is to say, let's capture all the events where we almost harm the patient, which happen about 200 to 300 times more than adverse events to patients. Several years ago, we interviewed 100 executives from around the world, top hospitals. We asked them 3 questions. Number 1, are you collecting the right data to keep your patients and staff safe? Number 2, do you trust the data you're reporting to regulators? And number 3, how well do you sleep at night? So I'm going to ask that to the executives in the room. How well do you sleep at night when you see the data that the minister discussed? The title of the report is from the head of the largest hospital in the UK in Birmingham, who said, the more I know, the less well I sleep. Visited the wonderful Pakistani Air Force Museum several days ago. This is at the heart of the Pakistani Air Force. Learning and implementation. This is the heart of healthcare. This is where the research needs to focus for the next decade. So when we look, for example, at this powerful study by Peter Bell, that the clinicians in the US all volunteered to participate, and the ones in England were forced to participate, and then their data was published in the newspaper and they were shamed and blamed. One is a model of engagement, one is a model of punishment. Another study, Atul Gawande did a great study that showed that surgical checklists work often when you engage staff. When they forced Canadian clinicians, almost zero benefit. Amazing. The same intervention is shaped by the culture of leadership. It's the leadership that's more important than the p-value in the paper. That's what we need to do in Pakistan and other low and middle income countries. This is where the biggest change is. It's about the culture of telling the truth. Here's the analysis of the same researchers from the US when they studied why the study failed in England. And it was all about not listening to the nurses and doctors and local managers. So in other low and middle income countries, this is Tanzania, more or less very similar outcomes to Pakistan. They've been able to demonstrate remarkable improvement of child health. Pakistan sadly leads the world almost in child death under the age of 5. Tanzania used to be there, is not anymore. But when you look at how they did it through culture change and truth